How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to review this robotic vacuum called the X50 Ultra Complete from Dreame. Usually higher numbers means a better performing robot, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you can have more suction power, but another one that has less suction power might actually clean up better. So in the end, what the consumer is looking for, as well as myself, is how well the robot can clean, how hands-off it is. I care about things like efficiency, standby power, how long it lasts, maybe the warranty. Dreame has a 5-year warranty, which is pretty rare for robotic vacuums. Usually it's around 1 or 2 years. They're pretty confident that most of the parts, it's gonna last at least 5 years. Of course, the warranty does not include consumables. Those are the things that you use up, like the mop heads, the brush heads, the vacuum bag, or the cleaner. With that said, this robot tries to do everything it can to make it as hands-free as possible, including their Pro Leap feature, which climbs over things up to 4.2 centimeters high. This lidar module that uses direct time of flight, it comes up and down. The reason it needs to come up is because it needs to shoot lasers 360 degrees around. And when it comes up, it takes up space and it can't go under furniture as well. So they devised this thing where it can pop back down. 20,000 kilopascal suction power, which is pretty high when you compare it to other robot vacuums. However, those are just numbers. You really want to see how well it picks things up off the floor. This would be a combination of the brush heads, how good a seal they have around the robot as it passes over stuff. So we'll see later how well it picks up debris. The mops, the main brush, and the side brush all retract into the robot. When you vacuum the carpet, you don't want the mops to drag around. When you mop something, you want the brushes to retract so that they don't drag around on the floor on the wet mess. I've been talking about roller technologies in other robotic vacuums. This one has a spinning mops and one of them comes out towards the edge. It's true that a roller mop can continuously clean itself. However, a dual mop can go back to the station, clean itself, and come back out again. Essentially, it's doing the same thing, except it's cleaning once in a while rather than continuously cleaning. It can still mop. Let's see it climb over this 2x4, which is 4 centimeters tall, but it's capable of 4.2 centimeters climb. At the front, there's a flashlight, various cameras, and sensors on the side. Let me take it out of the base station. There's a top lid we can remove. I like how it has a couple of spots for magnets, and that clicks right into these 5 positions over here. The dust reservoir is rather large compared to other vacuums I inspected. We flip it over. The mop pads are held down magnetically, so you could just pull them out.
Mop pads removed.
And you see there's a little magnet there, mechanism for it to swing outwards. The side brush is this typical helicopter style, and there's a swing arm here that allows it to swing outwards. Here's a look at one of the wheels. It's on right now, so I can actually move the wheel a little bit and it'll resist. Here we see the climbing mechanism. When it deems that it needs to climb over something, it will extend itself outwards. In the center, it uses a dual roller. One spins this way and the other one counteracts that, spinning this way. Sometimes I would use a vacuum cleaner with a single brush with bare feet, and the single brush would swing so fast that it will kick some dust particles into my feet. So that's how I know it's not getting all the dust particles sucked into the inside. It's made with this more durable, high density plastic. You can feel that it's a lot harder. The front brush is a rubber and bristle combination, and the back one is just a rubber to keep all the dust from flying backwards. Interestingly though, the vacuum intake hole is all the way on the end. You would think the center is better, but the way this is constructed, it spins this way and it tries to push all the dust towards the end. So given that, it makes more sense to have it towards the end. You just push it back in and clip this back in there. Towards the corners, there's also these infrared emitter and receivers. These are to prevent it from falling off a ledge, and you only have 1, 2, 3, and 4 of them. There's also a floor sensor to one side of the back wheel. There are 2 holes in the base station, one to push the air into the robot and another to take all the dust out. 2 little pegs here for positioning, 2 for charging it, a nozzle here to refill the robot with water, and at the bottom this is the mop cleaning area. There's all these nozzles here that ejects water, and as it spins this way it comes back over here across this lip that kind of squeegees those mops, and all the dirty water gets accumulated here. The debris gets filtered by this tray, and you can remove that right in the center right here. All the dirty water gets sucked in through this hole into the dirty water reservoir. Here's the vacuum bag compartment. The lid doesn't have to be this thick, but it feels substantial. They made it with 2 pieces of plastic, so there's some volume to it. And you'll notice there's a seal around here because that's inside this vacuum chamber. There's a spot where it sucks in the air, and this is where all the dust will accumulate. When this gets filled with dirt, you just pull this out to remove the bag. It seems like you have to do it manually for this bag. To the left of that is the cleaning solution compartment. There's a nozzle to extract the cleaning solution and 2 contacts to measure if this is low or not. This floor cleaner is included. Open it up, open the top lid, and pour it in. Close the lid and put it back. Replace the lid. The top has a lid where you can open, and this reveals the clean water tank and also the dirty water tank here. I like the back has this wind up area for the power cord, but most of these vacuum cleaners have it. Not all vacuum cleaners has this on off button, so you can completely turn it off and disconnect it from the power. Not all base stations are this narrow. Sometimes they're a little wider than the vacuum cleaner itself. This is much appreciated because I rather have it grow taller than wider, which takes up more floor space. Usually these robots need to map the room first before it begins cleaning, so let's do that first.
Mapping completed.
First test we'll do is a bunch of paper shreds on carpet. I'll just spread it out evenly, rub it all in, and we'll start a vacuum only cleaning session. It might be hard to see in the camera, but there's 1 piece of debris here, a tiny speck here, one here, and 2 little pieces over here. So let me just run it quickly again and see if it picks those up. That did a pretty good job. It picked up everything else that's left over. So now let's do a more thorough clean. I'm gonna go under the custom, do vacuum only, maximum, and the standard route, which includes the perimeter. Again, I'm gonna spread the debris everywhere. Let me put some on the tile area too, and also towards the edges. Whenever the battery drops below 10%, it's gonna go back to the base station and recharge. So it's gonna do that before it resumes cleaning. Couple of pieces left. There's one here, one little piece here, one piece here, and there's a piece that's stuck at the corner of the wall here and here. So 5 pieces total. Not a big deal, especially if you have a big mess, you just run it again. Usually pet hair is couple of strands spread very, very evenly across, so you can't even see it. So the fact that you can see little clumps like this is really, really bad. But I want to do it like this so we can at least visually see that it's picking it all up. Rub it in. Let's vacuum it up again. Overall, the majority of the hair and pet hair has been picked up, although I can still see a few hairs here and there that's in the floor. Usually with really, really dirty floors like this, you might want to run it a few times. Let's see what it picked up in the robot. Look at all that. Now let's see it drop the mops in the base station.
Start cleaning. Mop pads removed.
We'll do a mop test now with some tea stains. Putting it everywhere, including the corners. The tea is sufficiently dried up here, and I'm mopping this at 50% wetness with the standard route. Start. Couple of stains left behind, including this one in the corner and a few one along the bottom edge over here. I'll run it again in deep cleaning mode to see if I can get these along the edges. It missed these stains again. It might have something to do with me putting a barrier right here when it expects a larger space. So I'm going to remap this area first. I'll run another deep clean session. Couple of very faint spots left right here and here. Overall, pretty much cleaned everything. While it was mopping, it was able to extend the mop towards the edges and the corners. It was able to keep the mop pretty close to the edge all the way along the door. And due to the geometry of the thing, every time it turns, it has to retract it, turn, and then extend it back out to reach the edges. Overall, it works as advertised. However, it vacuums and mops a little bit differently than other robotic vacuums I've tested. It has the dual spin mops that needs to go back to the station in order to clean itself, as opposed to the newer roller mops, which constantly clean itself as it spins. Sometimes these features, it looks like, oh yeah, you know, it makes sense, you should get it because it's the newest. However, you need to consider how often is it actually gonna need constant cleaning like that. The percentage of time where it actually needs it, it's actually very low, and this vacuum can still still actually mop up big messes. It just needs to go back to the station, clean itself, and it might take a little bit longer. It does have features that other robotic vacuum does not have, such as climbing over things as high as 4.2 centimeters. 4.2 centimeters is actually like almost like a little step. It's actually very high. It pushes itself over it. Now, this feature sounds nice also, but you gotta consider, do you have little steps in your house like this? One possible way to get around not needing a robot that climbs over stuff is to just put a ramp there so other robotic vacuums can work. Because it has a 5-year warranty, it might just beat out other robotic vacuums. It just gives you a little peace of mind that it's not gonna break on you within a few years. If you guys are interested in this Dreame X50 Ultra Complete Robotic Vacuum, check out my affiliate link down in the video description below. They also sell a complete version which has more accessories and the ability to plumb in the water. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time.